Hey guys, welcome back. I've been testing this out. I've been driving around, so you saw that I installed the Victron GPS dongle for my Cerbo GX, and I'm really happy with it. It's been working flawlessly, and what I mean by that, you remember the other one, the Global Link, and actually we've got a few things I'm going to say about the Global Link. That was missing data. This one has not missed a single data, and not only that, I've had it set on 1 minute intervals, so every minute it's sending data to my Victron management portal. So remember when I spoke about that, and I'm going to do a separate video on that soon and show you some of the data from the last couple of days that's coming through from this Cerbo GX and some of the benefits that I'll be able to, particularly for myself with my reviews and such as power consumption for LED lights, etc., fridges and all that. I can go back to a graph and check on the graph and see how many times it's cycled, how long it's cycling for. For example, the last couple of days I've been checking my fridge freezer, the Kicker 75 litre. You know how I've been saying how efficient that thing is, and I can put it down to the proven technology. It's using like the Danfoss compressor and so on that's been around for a long time. It's got really thick insulation, and it's using fridge like your normal household fridge seals. I've noticed in 1 hour, less than 15 minutes, on average probably 10 minutes. Yeah, it is winter, but I'm up in Queensland in the Central Coast, and as you can see, it's not as cold as what some of you guys down south are getting here in Australia at the moment. And of course the fridges use less power when it's colder. I've kept the vehicle out in the sun all day the last few days, so on purpose I locked the car up to get it as hot inside as possible. The fridge would run 10 minutes, it won't run again for half an hour. And when it runs, it's drawing around about the 3.5–4 amps. Because it's got such good insulation, it's the reason why this thing is so efficient. And I'm coming up to almost a 2-year review on this fridge. I'll be able to show the data off it. It's almost the past year. I've removed the fridge cover, because remember in the last review I did on this, the 1-year review, Clayton, the manager owner of the Kick-Ass company, or called Australian Direct, I believe they are called in Australia if I remember right, and they're based in the sunny coast. So if you're watching this, Clayton, cheers. If you remember, I mentioned I'm going to do some tests without the fridge cover, because the claims were when they put that fridge out that it doesn't require the fridge cover, and yet he's selling it with the fridge cover. And I asked him, okay, I read your claim and you don't need a fridge cover, why are you including a fridge cover? And he told me blatantly, he says, for people who want to preserve the fridge, you know, if you don't want any scratches or you don't want it dirty, you got it stored in the back of your vehicle outside or something, they thought they'll just include that fridge cover, and it's a mighty good fridge cover too. It's one of the best ones out. So I thought, okay, I'm going to put that theory to the test. Now it's a shame I didn't have this set up, this Cerbo GX, recording all this data last year, because I could have given you spot on accurate data. I've not noticed that fridge consuming more power because I don't have a fridge cover on it. When I had the angle, I had no choice. I had to have the fridge cover on my angle. Let's just have this as a general overall video on the latest of my system. Let's talk about that, because you know I've got the Bundutop rooftop tent and I've got the Ostrichwing awning. Very happy with it. I've owned it for a while now, I've used them for a while, and it's the best setup for me. In fact, I made this comment when I was down in Gold Coast recently. I went to go see the guys in Bundutop, distributors here in Australia, and I went and had a talk to them, and I said, you know, one big thing I noticed about this, ever since I've owned this Bundutop, I haven't had a sore back like I normally get anymore. Yep, and you know why? Because it's so easy for me to set up. See, my issues with some of the other rooftop tents, in regards to the Ikamper, that was no problem setting up. For a tent worth that value, honestly, the mattress in them is just crap. I mean, less than 2 inches, How in the world are you going to get a comfortable sleep on a mattress that's less than 2 inches? Some people are exceptions. If you're built like that and you're skinny as a rake, you're probably going to find it fine, and you weigh as light as feather, or you got no bowel health issues, you got no back issues, and you're really young, you're going to find it's fine. But I know the majority out yous, once you bought the Ikamper, have to spend more money on mattresses. And a lot of yous are going for the expert mattress, self-inflating mattress, which is a great choice, and that's what I did. And they're not cheap. I was lucky, I picked up mine very, very cheap. It was virtually a giveaway. Well, never paid the price that they're asking for, recommended retail price, and then that made it comfy. But then only if you got the perfect inflation. I woke up some morning and still had a sore back because either too soft or too hard or whatever. But when you got it right, and it's not easy, when you got it right, it's very comfortable. But the issue with that, the amount of work in setting up. So if you want to go for a drive somewhere, then you got awning you got to pack up, and then you got rooftop tent, and you got these beddings that you got to roll up and fold up and put all your weight on it. And by the time I did, sometimes it got to the point where I got the camp I set up and I think, oh, I'd love to go for a drive. Nah, I looked at me think, nah, no way, no way. This overcome all that, this overcome all that. A couple of weeks ago, when I left and headed down the Gold Coast, because I've got family that lives there, as you know, I pulled up a caravan park just before the bridge there, on the left as you're coming in. Silver Shores, I think it's called. Awesome place. The owners are very friendly. I had a good chat with them. I pulled up, pulled the Ostrichwing out, had that set up, less than 30 seconds, walked around, unclipped the 4 clips, push a button, 20 seconds up, grabbed my fold chair, sat down, got a cold drink. I had all these campers just swarming at me, just looking and go, oh, literally their jaws would drop down like that, guys. Their jaws were, oh, wow. And they want to know all about it. Same when I was down the Gold Coast. I bought some fish and chips and we drove around to the spit. Hang on, guys, my beach towel that I bought from Cairns has flown. I bought this up at Coranda, up the top, when I went up there for the Buck Drifter event that he held 2 years ago. I think it's a nice backdrop. What do you reckon? Makes you feel like I'm camping even though I'm in the backyard. Got the solar panel out, the whole works, running tests on this new system. By the way, talking about it, I've made a decision which battery to go for too. I'm not going to tell you, but I've made a decision. And I ordered it yesterday, so I'm just waiting for it to turn up. So when it turns up, I will film it, the unboxing, and show you what it is. Some of you already know what it is, so don't tell anyone. See if you can guess what I went for. Out of those 4 batteries that I had a choice of, see if you can guess which one I went for. Probably majority of you will probably get it. I'd be actually, I don't know, I'd be surprised if you don't, majority of you pick out which one that I went for. Hopefully it won't take too long. At the moment I can imagine the freight is going to be held up, so it could be a little while before it turns up here. And as long as it turns up, that's not damaged. That's the thing that worries me with postage, guys. The way I look at things, the longer it spends in the freight system, the more chance your product's going to get damaged. In the past, I've had stuff turn up quicker from America to my hometown here in Bundaberg than it did from Brisbane to Bundy. That was a number of years ago when our dollar was very strong. I used to buy a fair bit of camping gear, mainly that lightweight backpacking gear, because I'm right into lightweight backpacking gear at the time. Get back to the spit. I'm getting ahead of myself. I forgot what I was talking about there on stage. Let's get back to the spit. Got the fish and chips. Got in the car, drove a couple 100 metres around the corner, backed up, the nice broad water, mouth of the river there, beautiful day, sailing boats going across, people fishing out the front, people riding scooters, people walking with their little dogs, everyone friendly, hello. Pulled up, boom, pulled this out, and there was some campers right next to us in like a camper van, and they were sitting there struggling getting their awning out, and they literally jaws just dropped, and they actually came over and wanted to know what this was. I've had people are driving along at 60 kilometres per hour and people honking their horn beside me asking about this setup down the Gold Coast. It's incredible, guys. And remember, the bed's already in there. And that's another thing too, getting back to that, getting back to the Ikamper. I had to spend money on the bedding. I had to spend money on the lighting. I had to spend money on the power to get power up there. I had to spend extra money on the fans. And then came the Drifta Stockton Wildlands. And I'm going to be honest here now. Good tent, but it wasn't the one for me. That was a loaner. That didn't cost me anything. But I did have the option to purchase it at a discounted price. So I had that on my vehicle for 4 weeks. Now it had some good features. One of the features is it was very low, it's very light, but it had some negatives, and it had more negatives for me. Now most of you guys, that tent's going to suit you fine. That rooftop tent. It's a wonderful rooftop tent, but for me it's no good. And that's the thing, with my back condition, I realised, and I had the Drifta Rapid Wing awning as well, and you know, I've actually sold that. Remember I said before, I don't have a sore back like I used to anymore. The Rapid Wing awning, when I set that up, I had to hold all its weight. So probably some 10 kilos, maybe even more, when I was setting it up on my right hand, unclipping it, going around, unclipping, going around, same as setting it up. And that used to hurt me back. I've realised now whenever I pick up anything that's too high or too far off in front of me like that, or up above my head, it plays havoc with me back. I can pick up things fairly heavy if I bend my knees down, keep the back straight and pick up. I don't seem to have a problem with that. Scooter that I've got is 33 kilos. I've got very little problems of actually picking it up and putting it in the car. And the issue I had with that Wildlands, that bar that crosses out, I had trouble getting it up and locking it in because that canvas is really tight, particularly on the one I had. It was really tight. It was so tight, you could feel it in the back, pinching in the nerves in my lower back. And it was a struggle. So it got to the point where I'd have to move the ladder down this way. I could get one side up, big push. The other side, I couldn't get it up. Canvas is so tight, I couldn't get it up. So I got down and I got this pole and I push really hard at the pole. And sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. And it'll take a few efforts and finally I'd get it and then I'd have a sore back. By the time I got home, and then I had to set it all up again to clean it, because whenever I camp at the beach, every time I go home, I set everything up and clean it again. So I did all that. I spent 3 days in bed with a sore back. I couldn't move. That was it. And that's when I decided I need something better. A lot of you say, just get a camper trailer or get a caravan. I don't want the hassles of towing anything and extra rego and so on and extra fuel that it costs. So it's really not ideal for me. Later on probably will be, but not at the moment. And that's when I went to this. And it's a hit. It's so easy. And that's another thing, particularly this Ostrichwing, all this stuff. Because it's so easy to set up and pack down, I use this 10 times more than I ever did the Rapid Wing awning, because the Rapid Wing awning was such a challenge for me to set up. This is so easy. Majority of the time you don't need to drop the poles down. As you know, it's got the included poles. It's a fair bit of wind blowing right now and I had it set up overnight, so just in case a storm came through I did drop the poles down and put the tie ropes out. I haven't used the walls on any of the camping trips I've been on so far. I haven't found I needed them yet. Usually I only need them if I want a nice wind block or it's really cold breeze coming through. So it hasn't been really all that cold up here in Queensland, and I haven't had a chance to go down New South Wales or camping anywhere where it gets really cold. So the walls don't get used much. Eventually I'm going to get the 2 additional walls to put over here. One with the window, one with the door. So Ian, I'll be hitting you up for those one day, but not for a little while yet, maybe closer to summertime. We might have a quick run through and show you. I'm going to do a separate video on this, but I'll just do a quick run through and show you some of the data that's coming through for my 12 volt system. I got my trusty old iPad here. So I've got the VRM portal here, it's about to start. So I don't know if you're going to see this too well, but I think we'll do a separate video on this. But this is just an indication of some of the graphs and so on. Let me show you the remote control. You can see what the charge rate, etc. there. But we'll do a separate video on that and show you all of that. I've still got the Safari 250 watt high voltage solar panels. So when I show you through the data on that, you'll see some of the voltages it's pushing, anywhere up to 65 volts is pushing in. So of course I've got the Victron 100/50 MPPT solar regulator. The 100 means it can handle up to 100 volt solar panels. So that's pushing up to 65 volts in. handles it no problems at all. The 50 is the amps, the maximum amps it can put back into your batteries. If I eventually get another solar panel, which I do have, I just need to get the correct plug for it, and then I can have 450 watts of solar panel. The recommended charge rate for my AGM is 25 amps. Hence why at the time years ago, nearly 4 or 5 years ago, I got the Red Arc 1225D. I would have loved the Red Arc 1240D, and hindsight would have been perfect for me now, but the problem is they told me there was a bit too fast of a charge rate for that particular battery that I got, so I got the 25D. But how handy would the 40D come right now? So I don't know what we'll do later on in the future, whether I'm going to sell that and probably get a 40D eventually. That's what I would like to. So if there's anyone out there who's interested in a well-proven Red Arc 1225D, I might consider selling that and updating to the 40D eventually. For now I'm going to leave it as is and run some tests and see how it works. It's almost lunch now. My mum's just behind the camera here waiting for me to finish yapping to you guys, because we got some chestnuts. I got some chestnuts that I'm going to roast in the oven, and we're going to have some lunch. Bit of a general overall videos. I'm probably going to start doing more of these type of videos from now, and then do a more thorough video on those items eventually. I'll get this edited, get this posted today, and I'll work on that Cerbo GX video in the next day or two at the most, and have that up online, and wait till you see some of the details on that. So if you're on the back burn there thinking about getting a Global Link 520, before you do, just hold off guys and check out the Cerbo GX. It's got so much more. Another thing I want to really mention too, the Global Link 520, if you're living in a remote area, or you're living in a place where the signals, you don't have many Telstra towers like I do, and the bandwidth of what they're using as well really doesn't work that well. I found with the Global Link, it requires a very, very strong signal to work. It just drops, it keeps dropping. I've been having problems with it, as you mentioned, and I thought it might be a warranty claim, but after speaking to another guy who just bought one, and he's having the exact same issues, but he's finding when he goes to somewhere, or he puts a really high powered, high gain, well not necessarily high gain antenna, but a real good quality antenna on his camper, it's working a lot better. But I did that with mine, so maybe mine is faulty. I did do that with mine. I put a 7 dB antenna on mine and got the signal strength a lot stronger, but it still failed to upload data up to 2 hours, and that's not good enough for me. Most people probably be fine, but for me, if I want to do reviews, record consumption, etc., it wasn't good enough for me, so it doesn't perform what they said they are. And I found even if you've got a strong signal, depending on what band it's using, Telstra tower, wherever you connect it to, it's still going to have problems. And I think that's the problem I have, is where I live, in remote areas. They kind of fail. I think if you're sitting somewhere and you're right beside a tower, that thing's going to have no problems. It's going to upload data every 15 minutes. But as soon as you get away from that tower, guys, that thing's going to hit and miss. I'm not having that problem with the Cerbo GX. That Cerbo GX is working flawlessly. I've been testing it extensively. Now I haven't tested it inside the shed yet, but I don't think that's going to be a problem because it's just going to connect to my Wi-Fi network. But when I've been out and about driving, gone out to the beach yesterday, went out to the beach, had a scooter ride, 24 Ks. I've been monitoring there and it's working flawlessly. Another thing I noticed with the Victron 4G LTE dongle is that it uses those extra bands that your Global Link 520 is not using. On my phone, 5G phone, iPhone, I get 1 bar signal. Every phone I ever used where I lived has only ever had 1 bar with Telstra. This thing here, I'm using the included antenna on it. I'm not even using my 7 dB high gain antenna. It's sitting inside my vehicle in here for the last 3 days testing. It's got between 4 and 5 bars out of 5. So I've never seen it drop down below 4. So it's picking up a really strong signal. If you're looking at it and you see the price and think, oh, that looks expensive, Guys, it's a good quality unit. It seems to pick up better signal than what my phone does, my really expensive iPhone 12 Pro Max does. So I think that'll work really good in areas, rural areas where the signal is quite low. And I've got it set to upload to my portal, the Victron management portal, once every minute, and I have not found it missed a beat at all. So brilliant there. Oh, this is a general overview video, guys. It's a bit like a blog. I might start doing more of these type of videos, the blogs, going over overall system. I know it's gone a bit long, so hopefully you've all watched right through the end. Let me know down below if you've watched right through the end. If you like the video, put a like on there. The more likes you put on it, the more views I'll get on this. Then I'll start doing more of these type of videos, and then have a video where I just cover one specific item in more detail. Although you probably think I've covered quite a fair bit of detail on some of the stuff I spoke about. But once I get into the nitty and gritty of one product, I'll get right down into the details on it. So I better go now. We're going to cook up these chestnuts and enjoy these chestnuts for lunch. And then I'll edit this video and get it uploaded to you later today. So when you're watching this, this is filmed today. As soon as it's uploaded, this is the latest film today. So look after yourself, guys. Take care and be kind to everyone. And please subscribe and please put a like. Go, cheers.
You're finished.